great. For me, I'm trying to enjoy this as much as I can and to feel good out there today and be a part of this team. And what's probably my last training camp was a lot of fun for me.
How tough was day number one?
It was good. I mean, definitely did a lot of conditioning and he pushed us, and I think that's the way to get camp off to a great start.
What was the major emphasis of this first practice?
Well, I think we did a lot of defensive drills, but I think even more than that, it was about getting ourselves in shape to play.
Would you say it was more mentally or physically challenging?
Both, and maybe even physically today, but as you know, once you get tired, then it becomes a mental thing. So, guys were tired from the jump, I think, with the demands that were put on us, and that forces you to mentally stay with it.
How did Kobe look out there, Steve?
Good, yeah, really good. He's you can tell he's excited, fired up, motivated, and he's going to get better and better.
Physically, how's he compare to Kobe from 2 years ago?
Well, I mean, obviously it's hard to say. We didn't really scrimmage or anything, and the other thing you got to remember, it's a process. Even though he's feeling well, he hasn't really played the game for a long time, and so you got to give him time to really get his legs back under him. But he looked good. He had a great mentality as usual, and I think he's going to be in great shape.
What are you scrimmage tomorrow? What are you expecting from him? Are you most excited to see him playing scrimmage?
I mean, it's just for me. I'm excited to see Kobe month by month. Not like, can't wait to see what he's got tomorrow on the second day of camp. This is a long season. He's come off two tough injuries, but in particularly the Achilles, and all that time off. It takes almost that much time to get back, and so I know obviously that process is well underway for him, but. I want to see him just get better every month. If he does that, he's going to have a great season.
Do you think Byron's going to take care of you guys this season as far as rest? And is it more so you and Kobe's choice? Or
I think it's, Byron's been great. I think it's fairly collaborative. I think, this is a nuanced thing. You got to treat it every day. You can't necessarily have a formula. And every day you got to evaluate where you're at, what the loads have been, and what you need to move forward.
What's the difference between Mike D'Antoni day one of training camp versus Byron Scott?
Well, we're on the court a lot longer. We did a lot more conditioning, and less kind of live stuff. But other than the amount of time and the conditioning drills, it's not that much different.
What about the tone that Byron Scott set, either after the team dinner last night or coming in this morning? What was that?
Well, I think he's. He's a guy that has everybody's respect. I think that you can tell he's excited and up for the challenge. I think that's a motivating force for everyone. And for me, it's great because I know he comes from a Pat Riley frame of mind and school of thought, and it's great for me to experience that. And I think it's really good for these young guys too to get that tradition underneath them as well.
Steve, if you could break it down in a percentage, what would you say? What percentage defense versus offense today in practice one?
Largely defensively. I wouldn't give it a percentage, but I would say the theme of the day was conditioning and defense.
We keep hearing about a defensive identity. This team needs it. What do you envision the defensive identity to be?
Well, I mean, the defense in this league is very technical nowadays. I think a lot of teams play a very similar defense, and the good defenses are about details and connectivity. Guys are connected, playing with passion, and playing the details that coaches have asked. You have a good defensive team. So I think those are what the good defensive teams do. Largely, the schemes are very similar, and it's a matter of how well you execute.
You guys obviously have a lot of injuries last year, but even given that, what weren't you able to overcome to be a good defensive team?
Well, like I said, details and connectivity. You play with energy, you stick to the details and the game plan, and you play together, you got a chance.
When you look out there and you have the rookies and even the newcomers, did anybody impress you in being in very good shape for the first day of camp?
I thought everyone did well. I thought all the guys. I wouldn't say there was a necessarily a format to where anyone could stand out per se, but there was a lot of guys that came in great shape and did really well.
Steve, for you personally, to get through training camp, what are the things you need to see yourself be able to get through without pain?
Not get injured, it's a big thing, and I mean that not in a facetious way. I mean that it's important not to get an ankle or a thigh bruise or all the little niggles. to try to manage them as much as possible, and then try to manage the load. And if I can, you know, manage the amount of minutes I'm out on the court and do enough to keep myself going and don't overdo it to where I can't recover, maybe I got a chance to play a lot.
Piggybacking off of that, we were told you did 90 minutes today. How'd you come up with that number, and is that kind of your maximum that you're trying to set for the training camp?
I think that's a lot for me. I felt great. I could have kept going, but the problem is it's like risk reward. So if I go past that, it's now you're playing in dangerous territory. Wow, man, I feel great. Now it's an hour and 45. Now it's 2 hours, and then all of a sudden I'm like, you know what? I just crossed the threshold, and I'm out for a week, or I'm behind, and I'm always playing catch up. And that's what I got to try to not do, is be in a position where I'm at a deficit playing catch up. I'm not only missing time, but I can't really go all out. And so there's definitely a nuance and a method to this.